Well, today we're going to make some tomato sauce. And why? There were just so many recipes that use tomato sauce as the base, and I plan on making quite a few, so we might as well start off with a simple tomato sauce and then graduate from there. Well, what we need first is a pot of boiling water, which we have ready, and vine ripened tomatoes, or what most people use are plum tomatoes. The only problem is whenever I go to the market, I don't find ripe plum tomatoes, but these tomatoes are always tasty, and if the tomato tastes good and nice and sweet, that's how the sauce is going to come out. So what do we do first? First we have to score the back of the tomato. And why do we do that? Very simple. Put 2 X's there on every tomato. And we're going to drop this into the boiling water. As soon as you see the skin start to move away from the flesh, you take them out and put them into the ice water to stop it from cooking immediately. I'm not going to stop the film at all during this process so you get the exact timing. Just place the tomatoes into the boiling water. This will only take a couple of minutes. And then over here we have the ice water ready. This is one way of doing it. We're going to peel the tomatoes. We're going to squeeze out the seeds. We're going to chop up tomato and make the sauce. There's another way. By just cutting these tomatoes up, sauteing them in olive oil, and then putting them through a ricer. Well, I don't have a ricer, so we're doing it this way. If you notice already, look, the skin is coming away. So what do we do now? Look at that. See, peeling off? That's done. Was that not fast? So now the rest of it's going to be a little work. But you always work when it comes to cooking, especially when you're working with fresh items. Now while I'm peeling the tomatoes, look how simple. I don't even have to use a knife. The skin comes right off. There's a couple other ways of making a tomato sauce. There are times when I'm lazy, so I'll just take these tomatoes, just core out that little stem area right there, cut them up in a few pieces, put them in the Cuisinart, and just run it until you don't see any seeds and all you see is smooth tomato. And it kind of turns a little pale color because you're infusing air's going into it, but once you cook it, it's smooth. Now they'll say that's the wrong way. Well, you know what? You try it, and after you make the sauce, the same way I'm going to make it, except you've put it through the Cuisinart, I might even do it like that right as soon as I get done with this. So that's the peeling part of it. Now you relax. Cut the tomato in half. We want the juices, so squeeze the tomato and get the seeds out. And what we have left is skinless, seedless tomato. You do that to all the tomatoes, and then we'll dice them up. And we'll press this also to get the juices out. Oh, maybe I didn't show you that. Just remove that little stem area right there. That we don't want. So I've gotten all the juice out. Now just press it through that chinois. This is the most difficult part of the recipe to make tomato sauce. Now we have nice clean tomatoes and the juice from the tomatoes here without the skin and the seeds. Now I've also done in the past, I've used canned plum tomatoes to make the sauce, but I've added half of fresh tomatoes to it to give it that nice fresh flavor. And that's the end of that. Now we're going to go about cooking the tomatoes. Now you could dice up the tomatoes by hand, but I am using the Cuisinart because right after I do this, then I'm going to throw in the whole tomatoes and show you what the tomatoes will look like without peeling, seeding, or anything. And so I'll be having 2 tomato sauces, one this way and one the other way. When we're done, you'll look at them and I will taste them and we'll see what happens. So we'll just run this, pulse it a little. I don't want to go too fine. And that's it. Now we'll put the skillet on a flame, medium flame. Put some virgin olive oil in there, just enough to coat the bottom. That's plenty. Don't forget, we're just making a plain tomato sauce. I will add salt and pepper to it. I'll let you know the exact amounts for the 1 3/4 pound of tomatoes. I don't want to leave any guesswork up to you, because sometimes, trust me when I season. And we'll just put the tomatoes in there. Let that heat up. The juice that we had also, that's flavorful. Turn the flame up a little. As soon as it starts to, you see it bubbling, then we're going to lower it. And this is only going to take a couple of minutes. We don't want to reduce this too much. We want to keep a nice natural tomato flavor instead of having it any stronger. I put in salt and pepper. Now we're going to let it cook for a few minutes. And this tastes like fresh tomatoes right now. Nothing better than that when you're making pasta, eggplant parmesan, veal parmesan, shrimps with lobster with tomato sauce. You can use this in 1,000 different recipes. And I'm going to have to think up some, or just go over my older recipes and make videos. Now while this is simmering, this is the other way we're going to do it, the shortcut. Take the core out. Then I'm going to cut this in 4 pieces, just throw it in the Cuisinart and run it until it's completely smooth. Now while that tomato sauce is cooking, I'm going to run the quartered whole tomatoes until that's completely smooth, and then I'm going to make a tomato sauce with that also. Now that's been running for a couple of minutes, and like I said, you see how pale it is? Once it's cooked, it'll turn red again. And we're just going to put this into the now it looks kind of smooth. As you can see, look how smooth that looks. So you see a little bit of the skin, and once it cooks, well, I'll taste both of them and then I'll let you know. So this is the easy way of doing it. May not be the right way, but the easy way.